The woman who wrote this book is gonna get someone killed. In fact, I'm fairly sure she already has. Modern medicine is better today than it ever has been, yet paradoxically the use of complementary and alternative treatments are becoming more and more prevalent. It is now not uncommon to see here in Britain multiple alternative health stores on the high street, selling a plethora of products, all of which have very little, if any, evidence to prove their effectiveness.
There is no scientific evidence that crystals and gemstones are able to treat ailments based off their color and chemical make.
Yeah, but it's like, what else is healing us? Certainly not science, so.
Ooh, shots fired at science!
To keep up with this ever-growing demand for alternative treatments, a cottage industry has developed online that, unlike the high street shops, is not bound by the Trade Descriptions or Medicines Act. This has led to a lot of vulnerable people being exposed to some truly insidious products that have the potential to cause a lot of pain and suffering. For example, Black Salve, which is an escharotic substance which some people online are promoting as a cancer cure. Now they are saying that if you put this on your tumour, it will burn out the tumour and leave your healthy cells alone. In reality, it has no magical abilities. It is unable to detect the difference between a cancerous cell and a healthy cell and will simply burn whatever it comes into contact with, hence why I'm wearing this glove. What about this stuff here? Miracle Mineral Supplement or Miracle Mineral Solution, MMS. This stuff, once activated, turns into an industrial bleach and disinfectant, which the people who are promoting this says will cure autism, AIDS, and malaria, to name a few. This stuff as well has no magical abilities and simply will react with whatever it comes into contact with. It's incredibly dangerous. In the past, I've published videos and blog posts warning vulnerable people about these potentially life-threatening complementary and alternative medicines and the vultures who prey on their desperation. Now recently, one of you lovely people from the internet sent me something in the post, and I'm not going to lie, when I opened it up, I was excited. Well, see for yourself. Okay, let's have a look. Again, I can't remember what people say they'll send me. Like, there's a few people who said, "Oh, I'll send you X, Y, and Z." I'm like, "Oh, cool, that's awesome." And then I forget about it, and then they turn up at my door. So, oh, it's another book. Let's have a look. Oh, God. It's the Jilly Juice protocols. Oh my goodness. Oh wow. So I know a little bit about her because my mate online, Jeff Holiday, has done a series of videos and he was on, what was it, Dr. Phil, how does that make you feel? He was on the TV show a couple of months back talking to her. The book is called The Jilly Juice Protocol, Exposing the Lies, Candida, Weaponized, Fungus, Mainstream Yeah, that's what it's called. And originally when I opened it, I thought, wow, this is going to be a fun read. This is going to be like absolute nutter butters. It'll be hilarious. I'll point, I'll laugh, I'll have a good time. And within about 20-30 pages, I realized that it wasn't like that at all. This book has the real potential to kill people, and I believe it already has. And not only has it the potential to kill people, it's going to make sure they suffer before they pass away. Now, at the core of Jillian's beliefs, now Jillian is the author and the woman who is pictured behind me, is that Candida, a opportunistic, pathogenic yeast, is responsible for everything, all our ailments, everything, and that her Jilly Juice can eradicate it from the body. So what is Jilly Juice? Well, Jilly Juice is Himalayan pink salt, water, and cabbage or kale blended and left for 3 days. It's this stuff here. And I made this 3 days ago. Hi there internet, it's past Myles here, and I'm gonna make me some Jilly Juice as per her recipe in her book. So first of all, I need 2 cups of loosely packed chopped cabbage, green or red and or kale. So I've got myself some kale. 2 cups of water, which I can get from the tap, and some pink Himalayan salt. Now I've got this stuff, it's pure organic salt, which doesn't really hit the ear correctly for me, being a chemist. I did try to get some non-GMO pink salt, but unfortunately it would have cost too much to get from America. So unfortunately you're going to have to do with the GMO salt for now. So let's make this. I've got my blender, I've got my jar. Let's do this. So first of all, 2 cups of lightly chopped kale. It's 1, 2, oh bloody hell. There we go, 2 cups of kale. Right, next, water. Okay, and here is 2. Okay, next, let's open my Himalayan pink salt. Very fancy stuff, this. Ooh. See that is a large amount of salt already. I don't know if you can see. I mean, yeah. Is that on properly? Yeah. Ooh. I reckon I could make another 2 of these and fill this up. Pour this in. I think that'll do. That'll do for now. So there we have it. Jelly juice. So now I leave it for 3 days out in the warm, although I live in the northeast of England, so it's not really that warm up here. And then I come back to it, and apparently I can grow limbs and malarkey. So enjoy this, future Myles. So I've got a bit of a reputation here online of actually trying quackery out, and I thought, well, I might as well give this stuff a try. Now, I'm not going to drink the entire thing. I'm just going to have a sip because I have no intentions of shitting myself on camera. But I thought I'd describe what it smells like and what it tastes like, because you often don't. Oh. It smells like someone has canned a year's worth of farts. That is truly vile. Oh my god. Right. Oh, no, the smell is really overpowering. Yeah, so anyway, I've got a bit of a reputation of trying stuff. So I'm gonna have a little bit of a sip and describe it to you guys, and yeah, okay. I mean, what do I plan to achieve by this? I mean, it's going to be awful, and I'm going to spit it out because it's fucking salt water, but how anyone can get past that smell. Okay, here goes. Okay. Oh. Okay. I'm going to close that. The smell is so bad. Okay. Okay, how can I describe it? Well, it's exactly what you think of. It's horrible cabbage that's been left out for 3 days in salt water. It's gross. The smell is horrible. And it's still lingering, the smell. No, that was worse than drinking bleach. So it just shows you how desperate some people are. If they're willing to endure that, like liters and liters of that. And, oh god, and yeah. The worst thing about it isn't even the taste. It's actually the smell. Yeah, and it's just awful. Like, even Jilly herself, who has been doing this for years, can't stand this stuff because it is fucking rancid. Okay, look, I mean, yeah, watch this. Like, this is her drinking it, and yeah, she's obviously enjoying it. Look at that face.
Woo! That's freaking intense.
So what does this Jillian believe her Jilly juice can actually cure? Everything. She thinks it's the ultimate panacea. She believes this fermented saltwater cabbage juice can cure everything from cancer to HIV to autism, everything. Because apparently everything is caused by this yeast infection. And it gets so much more stranger because she believes this stuff can also help you regrow limbs. Like arms and legs and things.
You have all of these claims, but you have no data. You have no basis for this. You have some people that, well, you've not regrown any limbs. You haven't regrown any. You're not 312 years old. You don't have.
Well, of course not. I'm not missing any limbs. So what did we grow?
Honestly, I'm not making this up. She's not a Poe. She honestly believes this. She believes downing gallons and gallons of this stuff a day will help you regrow your arms and organs. In fact, she goes into detail in her book about how you should get implants and stuff removed before you do her protocol. So let's say you have a new heart. Well, you should get your doctor to take that out before you try her Jilly juice, because her Jilly juice will regrow you a new heart. I feel like I need to really stress this. She's not a Poe. She's been deadly serious here. This is what she believes. And she also warns people who are homosexual that maybe, if you drink this juice, you've got to be careful because it may cure your homosexuality. Yeah, right, I got nothing. I have nothing. Sorry. As you can imagine, ingesting large quantities of a salt solution will have some very unpleasant side effects, including bouts of explosive diarrhea, which is why I'm not going to drink any more of this crap. But this explosive diarrhea is okay, according to Jillian, who doesn't actually call it diarrhea. She calls it waterfalls. You are waterfalling. Gross. Jillian seems to have an obsession with human waste, and in her book she spends a large amount of time dedicated to her own bowel movements, and how she would sift through her own feces looking for anomalies.
You want to be in the pole position, right? You want to be in control of your body at all times at whatever level that you're at, all right? So what I do, I go upstairs, run my hands under some hot water, and then stick your finger up your butt, whatever, and then do what you need to do, push on the insides, and the poop comes out.
On her Facebook page, where she once almost amassed just shy of 60,000 followers, she would often post pictures of what she picked out of her poo. And she would say, look at this, these are parasites, therefore my Jilly juice protocol is working. In reality, the diarrhea wasn't giving her body enough time to digest the food, and she was simply picking at undigested food, taking pictures of it, and then posting it for the world to see. That's pretty gross. Now, as I said, she keeps saying that this isn't diarrhea, this is waterfalling. She keeps talking about it in her book, and she talks about it all the time in her almost daily Facebook videos. But I still don't know what she's getting at, and I've watched hours and hours of her trying to explain the difference, and it makes no sense.
They may have very similar characteristics only because there is an action that is going on, but you have to know what precipitated the event to begin with.
So the only thing I can think of, the only thing I think she's trying to say is that the cause of the diarrhea makes it something else. So that's the equivalent of me saying if I vomit because I'm hungover, that's fine, that's vomit. But if I vomit because I drink a load of Jilly juice and it's gross, that's not vomit, that's something else. It makes no sense. Like I'm saying it out loud. I've read, right, okay, I need to stress this. There's parts of this book I've read multiple times just to try and understand what her points are and to try and get a better grasp at the whole Jilly juice protocol, and none of it makes any sense. The amount of salt Jillian recommends you ingest can and will cause nausea, headaches, cramp, dizziness, and diarrhea. And it will also lead to dehydration because your body can only produce urine that is less salt concentrated than Jilly juice. Therefore, you need more water in your system to remove the Jilly juice. It's the same as when you're lost at sea, you shouldn't drink seawater because it makes you more dehydrated. This is what this stuff will do. And if you really stick to what she's saying, there is the potential that you will become incredibly dehydrated, that you could start having seizures, that you could hallucinate, that you could, lose consciousness. These are all things that can happen. Now, in her defense, she does say that you can drink a large amount of water at the same time, but this isn't really going to be all good for your kidneys. They can be overworked and they can start to shut down, and that can cause some very serious problems. You could even die. But according to Jillian, pain is healing.
Pain is healing. While our environment is set up to degrade us constantly at the cellular level, we are not properly set up to heal in our society because healing is painful and we have a tendency to avoid pain. Our body gives us warning signs that the 12 different systems are not working correctly, and that is why you have pain and inflammation. Biotechnology has found a way to use cures which are used as a temporary relief for ongoing issues, but they never get to the root. Every time you have pain, it should be a signal to you that your body and its immune system is trying to repair or fight something off. The first thing you should not do is quell the pain by taking an antibiotic, which in essence stops healing. Antibiotics come in all different shapes and sizes, and yes, Mother Nature also creates antibiotics, much like the ones crafted in a biotechnology lab. Antibiotics stop all cell regeneration, which means that it's undermining any progress you may have made while healing, and when you stop the healing, you have essentially destroyed your body in the process.
Again, I've got nothing. Listen to this. It's nuts.
Never ever run away from pain when it comes to this protocol, okay? This is when you have to welcome pain. Pain is your friend when you're using and doing my protocol, okay? So pain is healing. Pain is weakness leaving the body. Pain is necessary.
So in her book, Jillian is saying that pain is your body's way of saying that it's fighting something, which is bizarre as all hell. But then she goes on later to tell people not to stop drinking her Jilly juice if they feel pain, to push through the pain, not to take any painkillers, not to take antibiotics. She is gonna get someone killed if she hasn't already. It's quite clear from reading her book that Jillian has been contacted by quite a few of her Facebook followers telling her of some nasty symptoms they've had. Now, Jillian tries to counter these symptoms, and not only counter them, try to spin them into a positive. And some of these symptoms and some of these things that are happening to people are truly awful. She has an entire section, for example, dedicated to people bleeding whilst taking her jelly juice. People who are bleeding, there's blood in their urine, there's blood in their feces, they are vomiting blood, and she's trying to spin that into being a good thing and proof that her Jilly juice is working and that this is fantastic. Her theory, her idea about why it's okay to bleed whilst drinking this shit is unbelievable. She says that parasites have hooks in them, and that when the parasites are being forced to come out of your body due to her Jilly juice, they are putting their hooks into your flesh and cutting you up as they come out. It's nuts. It's crazy. Do I have to say that if you're bleeding from any orifice, you should go see a doctor? Please, honestly, this is nuts. This is absolutely nuts. The more I read of Jillian's book, the more confused I became. It started off quite coherent and quite well structured, but then 20-30 pages in, it just became a mess of words. It lost all cohesion. I found myself reading chapters over and over again, thinking, is it me? Have I missed something? But no, it's just an absolute mess. For example, look at this. This is a process flow diagram. I'll put it on screen now. Can someone tell me what this is trying to show? Can someone explain this to me? Because I've been looking at this now for over 2 weeks and I'm still none the wiser about what it means. And the whole book is like that. There are like chapter headings that say like stuff like, is it okay to eat GMOs? And you read it and afterwards you're like, what the f*** is she talking about? Are GMOs okay or are they not? There's a whole chapters dedicated to Like, are your kidneys going to be okay on this? And you read it and you're like, I have no idea what she's talking about. This is just words. Bleh. She's just vomiting words onto paper. And it makes no sense. Did no one proofread this before she got it somehow flipping published?
Like I addressed in my first book, Candida is yeast overfed, and when it starts to overcome the body, it's also known as cancer. Candida is a fungus with virus microbes introduced via vaccines and the environment working together symbiotically to destroy parts of the body it was programmed to obliterate. When the body is full of sugar and heavy metals feeding the Candida/cancer with the virus microbes, it also lowers the immune system. This also allows the parasites and worms to flourish and take over. Parasites feed off the nutrition when you eat your meals. It systematically destroys your immune system and shuts down your organs one by one. The weaponized virus microbes multiply as the Candida/cancer cells grow, since the virus cannot live without the host fungus. This is why the diet is so strict.
I've got to admit, towards the end, I was really fighting the urge to put the book down. It is that bad. It is nothing but word salad. It is boring, and I felt that I hadn't really learned anything new about Jilly Juice that wasn't already on her website or on her Facebook page. I thought, you know what, this book is going to be up there with Vanda Shiva's Ecofeminism and Robert Young's pH Miracle. But I struggled through, and then I came to a section called, well, page before actually, bonus section, The Science Behind the Protocol. Yeah, so in this section, she tries to explain the whole thing and tries to give it a kind of science-based, it's bollocks. It basically all boils down to a misunderstanding of chemistry and a complete ignorance of the elemental composition of the human body. I've saved you like 150 pages right there.
So I've noticed that when I looked at the elemental composition of the human body, all right, we have salt is the 9th element. And then we have balancing forces. So what is the balance of salt? It is water. Okay, so I'm explaining what waterfalls are in the context of waterfalls, why it isn't diarrhea, so you guys get it.
She then goes on to suggest food based on its elemental composition to achieve peak balance in the human body. Now, there is just so much wrong here. So let's start with the very simple fact that this completely contradicts everything that she's written so far in the book. Up until this point, we are told that a yeast is responsible for everything that is wrong with us. It is responsible for cancer, is responsible for HIV, for autism, it's responsible for us not being able to regrow limbs, it's responsible for homosexuality. And now we're being told it's not that at all. It's an imbalance of trace elements in the human body. I mean, did she not see this as a problem? And not only that, it's incompatible with drinking large amounts of this fermented cabbage salty juice. Because her new theory is that you should eat stuff in balance with compared to what is made up of a human body. But now, how can she still say that and still say that you need to drink large quantities of salty water? You can't. But she tries. She obviously found this huge gaping hole. And she tries to explain it away. And I read the section where she tries to explain it away about 10-20 times and it still makes no sense. So salt goes from being, I don't know. It goes from just craziness to craziness. It basically, salt now is energy. Like, it's pure energy. You eat salt and it gives you energy. And it's okay to eat this amount of salt because the human body, which she says averages about 70 kilograms, about 0.4% of that is sodium and chlorine, and therefore it's okay to eat that amount of salt in one sitting. Even though like she's saying that you should eat like a elemental balanced diet. She's thick. There's no better way of saying it. She's thick. And it's really hard to talk about this because it just doesn't make any sense. I mean, for goodness sake, she thinks that the pink whatever salt, I'm starting to lose it, has the perfect ratios of trace elements that the human body needs. You can tell by looking at it, because it's all different colors, that it's not uniform. So How can she say that? She must know that. She also in this section goes on to explain why you can't use regular table salt. It turns out that regular table salt has iodine salts in there to use for, well, to help people with iodine deficiency, which is true. And she says this is why you can't use it because it creates an imbalance. Pink Himalayan salt has more iodine salts in it. So regular table salt, depending on where you are in the world, has about 5 milligrams to about 50 milligrams per kilogram of an iodine salt. Himalayan salts, it's over 100 milligrams per kilogram at least. That would be such an easy thing to find out. It's like a core principle of her entire Jilly Juice protocol. I'm really struggling here because usually I try and make sense of the things that people are promoting, and usually I can somewhat see their point of view if it just comes from like ignorance or fear or what have you. This woman is just thick. The phrase "you're not even wrong" kept coming to mind when I was reading this book because it is just word salad and nothing else. But it wasn't a complete waste of time reading this book. There was something really interesting in it, something that I think a lot of people need to know who are thinking about possibly trying this crazy juice. There's a test in here that you can do to yourself, and I think what Jillian should do to herself to prove that this Jilly Juice is absolute garbage. You see, in this book, she talks about antigens, and specifically she talks about antigens on red blood cells and says that they are toxic to human life and toxic to humans. Yeah, and she says that her Jilly Juice can remove these antigens. And she says, therefore, you can go from AB positive all the way to O negative. Yeah, you can see where I'm going with this. So, I found a video of Jilly where she's talking about what blood group she is, and she is O positive.
But I don't have the A or the B surface antigen. But even then, you could be O negative and still have cancer. Okay, so just because you're O negative doesn't mean that you're like home free. It just means that maybe your body is predispositioned because the lack of the surface marker antigen is allowing your body to heal faster. So I'm thinking that my O positive blood type that I was typed out like 10 years ago lended itself to make it easier for me to heal versus someone else who's like AB positive. Okay, which means they have a lot more to overcome than somebody else.
So this woman that claims that Jilly Juice can change your blood chemistry and remove all the antigen toxins from the outside of your blood has, at least she did have 10 years ago, O positive blood. Well, I don't think it's completely unreasonable to ask her to do a blood test live on camera and see if she is O negative, which she should be if her juice is working. Do you think that's unreasonable? I don't think that's unreasonable. In fact, I think we should contact her, demanding her to do a blood test and showing people that she is absolutely full of crap. And to people who are thinking about using her protocol and drinking this saltwater cabbage juice, why don't you do the blood test yourself? They cost about $5. Do one before you start, if you must start. I don't think you should, by the way. And then after a couple of days, when all those nasty toxic antigens should have, been washed away with the parasites, test yourself again. And if you are the same blood type, bear in mind if you're not O negative, then it's not working. Because it's garbage, and she's preying on a vulnerable person like you. Don't do it. This stuff will make you ill. And unfortunately, this advice is too late for some. In 2017, a man suffering from advanced pancreatic cancer named Bruce discovered Jillian's Facebook page and out of desperation brewed up a large quantity of the juice. According to his daughter, he drank the juice to the exclusion of everything else and became emaciated before dying shortly thereafter.
You can turn that off now.
Do you feel responsible for the people who follow your protocol and they get hurt? Do you feel responsible?
No, I don't feel responsible. You know
why?
Why
Not?
Because
Why?
they had the opportunity to read my information and understand. I have it all free. There is
Jillian,
nothing hidden in my agenda here.
You are preying on vulnerable
Only
people.
by you who
These
says,
are desperate people. Some of them
says
are
you.
dying.
They're
No.
not dying.
This is reality.
No, it's not reality. Because where's the substantiate that they're dying? Please substantiate that. Not a hospice patient.
Some of them have died.
Not a hospice patient who's already been dead, who's already basically dead by the system.
Jillian has no scientific or medical background whatsoever. And after reading her book and watching a lot of her videos, I can say with some confidence that she has no idea what she's talking about. She is, I think, just making all this stuff up on the spot. She has no evidence for any of the dangerous things that she suggests that you do if you're ill. Zero. She is just making it up. And I believe that she was responsible for this Bruce's guy's early death. And the fact that before he died, he would have been in a lot of pain. And I don't think he is the only one. The more of her videos you watch, the more she hints or slightly talks about someone who she previously worked with who got ill after taking this Jilly juice. In the video, The Rebuttal to Dr. Phil, she talks about a woman who started having seizures after this, and it's always the same comeback that she has, that these people aren't sticking strictly to the protocol, and that's what's causing all these problems. She is f***ing killing people. She is. And she needs to be stopped. This book, when I first got it, I thought it would be fun. I thought it would be something stupid to add to my collection. And the more I read and the more of the videos I watched of her, the more I realized that she is dangerous. This isn't funny. This stuff isn't funny. This is dangerous. This is getting people hurt. And she needs to be stopped. Before I go, I just want to thank Jeff Holiday, who helped me make this video. Some of you might have noticed that he actually was the narrator of Jillian's book, and also he's made a lot of videos on the subject which helped me out immensely. Now, I highly recommend those videos, and the link is here, so click it and check them out because they are 5 out of 5 stars.